Are we live? Are we live? We're not live. We are live. Right, the strangest thing happens, and basically on YouTube, as you know, if you do live streaming, they've updated the live streaming dashboard, and it doesn't actually register this stream as being live, even though we are obviously live. And sorry about that. If obviously we are obviously live right now, but it doesn't register it as being live, which is the strangest thing. So we are actually live, but you don't know we're live. Well, I don't know we're live. You guys do. Anyway, welcome. Hello. Great for you to actually be here. And here, I'm Jake Symons. This is the big friendly conversation about mental health, Mental Monday. And for the next half an hour, we'll be having an unscripted conversation about mental health, discussing all things self-care and kind of what's been going on. It's unscripted, so feel free to put in the chat anything you do want to talk about. And I'll kind of start off. I normally waffle on for a couple of minutes, but considering we're being live, we've mainly done a couple of minutes just to allow people to join and just to kind of start on a good time. So, hello, welcome. First of all, I want to apologise for not doing a stream last week, which is the scheduled slot for this. It's meant to be every 2 weeks. The reason for that was I was doing a passport application, which turns out is a nightmare if you don't have a normal kind of family structure. So that was taking up most of my time on Monday evening, which is why I wasn't doing that. But after many letters to the passport office and the solicitors, or shall I say emails, I think we've finally got somewhere. So that's one stress at least partially relieved. I haven't physically got my passport yet, so I'll probably be holding on to that high level of anxiety until it actually arrives. But, yeah, that is one thing that has now been done and is now something I can actually have and hopefully use. Leave the country, yay. But yeah, so that's why we didn't have a stream last week. So I'll start off with the usual question, which is, how has your week been? Obviously for me, I've been doing that and I've been doing a few work things, not really much going on at the moment. My kind of 9 to 5 job, which I would have mentioned on the last stream maybe. I lost my 9 to 5 job on the 1st of August, which means I'm relying solely now on Waterdown for a full income until I find another 9 to 5 job, because Waterdown's not enough to, support an income if the company only started in July. So we're nowhere near kind of actually taking my salary out of that. So yeah, that's kind of applying for jobs and a bit of a stressful time. I mean, to be honest, I'm probably going to be more stressed after it, because right now I'm just so in the moment with everything, applying for jobs and trying to build up more down, that I'm just so, in the moment. I'm not actually thinking about the stress. I don't have time to be stressful, as it were. So, at some point, eventually I will sit down and I will say, oh God, what happened? This is just a mess. And yeah, have that kind of stressful breakdown. But yeah, at the moment I'm dealing with it fine, really. Well, as best as can be expected. Don't really have time for the stress. So, it's good that I'm actually, I guess, holding on to it more. I think back to a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have been able to kind of take this high anxiety situation, but now I can, and the kind of uncertainty of everything, like not knowing when I'm going to get another job or how long my kind of savings will last me for and stuff like that, and just kind of not knowing really what's going to happen is kind of the biggest anxiety. But yeah, I mean, it affects my sleep a little bit, but other than that, I'm alright with it. So, yeah, that is a long, hard recovery journey. And eventually, as I often say about recovery journeys, you do get to the point where things are manageable. It never goes away, but it's manageable and you can actually deal with it and you can, still live your life around mental health, and that's something I guess I'm actually in the middle of right now. So anyway, how has your week's been? Do say hello in the chat. I am normally go by what you say in the chat, but if there's not much to talk about, then we can kind of move on to other things. I'm just actually opening a couple of old blogs that I'm doing. I haven't blogged for a while on my actual site. Don't really know what to say. I look at it and I think, well, everything I say is kind of, there's, because of this kind of lockdown and then kind of releasing, everything's kind of the same for me still. So there hasn't really been much, I guess, personal change. So, every day is like the same. It's, wake up, look for jobs, start on water down, sleep, etc. There's not really much I can think of to actually write about on the blog, because we spoke on my last post about recovery, but I just need some topics. So any topic suggestions you want me to kind of talk about, I'm going to kind of go by you. What do you want me to actually, blog about? Do let me know. Other than that, I was thinking of writing some maybe more self-care-y posts. It's been a while since I've done that. There was a self-care challenge on Instagram on my old account, and I believe on maybe YouTube as well. We started it on YouTube. I think those been deleted now. But basically, the kind of self-care challenge is taking time for yourself every day, which I was going to do, and then I realised, well, the stuff you may do for self-care might not be open, or if it's like to hug a family member, obviously you can't do that. So would the self-care challenge really work about finding lockdown or kind of COVID secure ways of self-care? Would be interesting. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me. So anyway, how is your how's the stream lagging? We seem to be lagging this slightly. I'm recording this on my phone, so there shouldn't really be any lag unless it's the Wi-Fi. Do let me know if you can see that lag. Let me just try and refresh. I've got myself, that's why I keep looking away, because I'm constantly kind of looking at what I'm we're back, cool. Well, I'm just looking at like what I'm doing, so I can actually see that we're here and doing things, which is good. So just focusing on the little wins. I think that's how I describe it. It's just one day at a time, and it's kind of been that since March. One day at a time, and then when you look back, all those one days at a time really do add up to months, as we are now at nearly the end of August, and thinking that it's been going on since March. That's months of just every day being the same, but one day at a time. That's kind of how it works, and it does work. We are live, aren't we? I'm just looking at various things and telling me different. I think this is my setup. But do say in the chat if like there's an issue with the stream. Do say something. I don't mind. It would help me out a lot. But yeah. Everyone's quiet today. It normally does get a bit like this. That's why we moved the streams down to every 2 weeks instead of every 1 week. Because obviously not much to talk about over lockdown. In the mental health calendar, it's kind of quiet as well, because you find all the events are February, kind of mid-February to Mental Health Awareness Week in May, and then from kind of May to next year, there's World Mental Health Day, Suicide Awareness Day, Anti-Bullying Week, and that's about it, really. There's not really much else in the kind of calendar, so there's from kind of May to... Normally I blog about that, and that's kind of what we base the whole site around. But then when there's no events, it's just a moment of quiet, which is nice because it gives me kind of a summer break. But we're now back off summer break, and we're now back on Mental Monday, and there's still nothing to talk about, which is Wonderful. But yeah, we do try and cover as many mental health events as we can. Eating Disorders Awareness Week, which was actually on Hope Virgo, who you've probably seen around on Twitter or Instagram actually, was on BBC this morning talking about a new eating disorders study. So that was nice. It's good to see that it's still getting mainstream coverage, mental health, because it's not something that goes away. And obviously when Mental Health Week comes around, we all start talking about mental health, and then you kind of get into these quiet lull moments in the mental health calendar, and no one really talks about it, but obviously it's still an issue, and it's still something that, does need to be spoken about. So it's still good that the study's done, and then there's obviously the awareness raised, and now lockdown, I guess, is releasing more, and things are getting back to normal. Will we see kind of changes? Depends, because it's kind of mixed, because there's some studies, and I will try and get the links of these and maybe do a blog on it, but there is some that say like anxiety's actually gone down, and there was one that said anxiety reached its lowest levels ever, and that kind of shocked me. This was in teens, and I'm reading that, and I'm like, so teens worried about their exam results, their futures, and in the most likely category to lose their jobs, are having the lowest levels of anxiety. And I didn't really, I didn't see, for me, my anxiety levels have been more, mainly because, life is upside down at the moment, and still is, but yeah, just kind of the uncertainty of everything. So that was weird. And then there's some that say it's increased and depression's increased. And some people say, lockdown's giving them more free time, and others don't really see like lockdown as kind of isolating them and away from all the things that would normally help them through what they're going through. So yeah, it's really mixed out there. So definitely good to bring awareness to it, and obviously there's all different kind of views, and things go up, things go down, and it's just, there's not like we can't say depression has increased or decreased, because everyone's different. So some people would have it up, some people would have it down. For me, my depression's kind of stayed the same. It's mainly anxiety that I've been feeling around kind of, just the uncertainty of everything. Depression of like being inside. I mean, yes, originally, but I think I've just kind of adapted to kind of live with that depression. I don't know. It just, for me, I'd say not really. I mean, a little bit, but not. It's kind of stayed the same. There's always kind of an element of depression, and I do feel that kind of in my day, but at the end of the day, it's just something that I feel and just carry on feeling it. It doesn't kind of debilitate me into not being able to do things. So it's, I don't know, I mean, it's different for everyone. I'm trying not to generalise here and say like depression's gone up or down. It's different for everyone, and that's with all mental health across the board. You can't just say, especially like me, if you're just speaking as, like, I'm not professionally trained in mental health, but it's like I'm just speaking from what I've suffered, what I've recovered from, and what I've recovered from is completely different to like everyone else's, and it's actually a good step is actually knowing that you're limited. And even if you're speaking as like a friend or say a parent who knows everything about their child, it's actually recognising you speak in a limited capacity, that you don't know what's going on inside the private mind of someone else, and actually accepting that as always going to be a limitation, and then just making your best go at having that conversation, but having that awareness and that understanding that you don't know. So, saying I know how you feel can come across as really comforting, but also it can be quite annoying if you actually don't know how I feel. It can be quite annoying, but then I try not to get too pedantic on language because, people are trying their best, and I do respect that and I do appreciate that, even if it's like not helping at all, that you're trying, which is nice, but actually just taking that step back and realising, you don't know everything and I don't know everything. So just accept that and then kind of move on knowing that. And definitely a mental health conversation tip right there. So, yeah. We normally go for about 20 minutes if no one says anything, because obviously this is unscripted, so I do run out of things to say eventually, and it's kind of lives on what you say in the chat. So if not much has been said, then there's not much to go on, there's not much to say, etc., etc., which is fine. But that's just something we deal with if there's not much conversation. But yeah, obviously I'm always around if you do want to speak to me. Twitter is probably my most active platform, although I'm getting more into Instagram because I'm trying to grow an account on Instagram. So I'm Twitter and Instagram, which is in the description, and my website as well, which is just my name. So easy enough to find, but do come and say hello, and yeah. I mean, I can't be good at conversation. I'm not promising you that autism gets in the way of me being good at conversation. But if you do want to have a chat or something like that, then do say hello. But yeah, I'm going to kind of round things off now. It's been a good chat. It's good to be back. We may have a mental health stream. I'm thinking that I was trying to think if you've got like the schedule down being every other week, but I'm looking at how many viewers there are, and actually there have been more viewers today than last time. So I think this time slot is probably better. So we won't be doing a stream next week, but we will be doing a stream the week after. Hopefully this kind of time slot is better. Obviously if the stream does pick up, we can go back to being every week. During mental health events, we normally do these daily. So that's during Eating Disorders Awareness Week and Mental Health Awareness Week. These are done daily. But then it's every 2 weeks because not much to say, not much conversation. If that does increase and there's a lot more people getting involved than usual, then I will maybe do this every week. The time slot is free. 7 p.m. on a Monday for me is pretty free, so I can do that. But yeah, come say hello. And I've been great spending a quick evening with you talking about mental health. Really appreciate your time as always, and if there is anything to say and you didn't want to say it publicly in chat, then do come and say hello. Let me know what's going on. How are you feeling? I will obviously talk to you. I manage most of my messages myself. So, yeah, if you do want a conversation, you will be speaking to me, which is, if you wanted reassurance of that. But yeah, I will see you week after next for the next edition of Mental Monday, the big friendly conversation about mental health. I've been Jake Symons. It's been great you've actually joined me for this week and for this 20 minutes. I've really appreciated your time, and if there's anything you need, feel free to message me. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in 2 weeks' time.